Gremlins, it's me, Evermay. Yes, I'm whispering. Why? I don't know. But you're even not even on my desk. You're in my hand. I am trying to figure out a new recording system. So, if you've been here a little while, which I'm assuming you have been, I have fibromyalgia and a bunch of other illnesses that cause pain. Well, with this illness or whatever you want to call it and the pain, there are days when sitting at a desk just isn't possible. My pain hurts too much. The rigid stuff of sitting in the desk chair hurts a little more, and so I try not to sit at my desk. And I have my book stuff and Canva on my phone. So if I'm on the couch and a creative idea happens, I can write it on my phone, or I can record it on my phone, or I can go into Canva and produce it on my phone. But that is my safe net. That is allowing me to work within the constructs of what I'm capable of doing. And some days, being on the couch is all I'm capable of doing. And I don't want to take quote unquote days off for that when my brain is going. It's just my body that's not cooperating. And if you hear banging, I apologize. They are working on an apartment nearby, either above me or below me. I can't really tell because it just sounds like a bunch of banging. But if you hear banging, that's what it is. So I apologize ahead of time. I hope you don't hear it. And I won't know until I'm done recording this if you can hear it or not, because I don't have headphones. And I'm not sure I ever want headphones. I don't like the sound of my voice, so therefore, when I hear myself talk, I end up talking myself out of posting anything. So it's kind of one of those, well, maybe we shouldn't kind of things. But eventually I will get headphones and listen and see, if what I hear on my regular ears is what you guys hear. But anyway, so part of me doing stuff is I am seriously trying to come up with a way to record that I don't have to sit here at my desk. The problem is the microphone that I got has to be hooked up to something. So right now it's hooked up to my computer, which is fine. It has a long cord, so I can sit comfortably somewhere. Luckily, I have a chair. It's not the most comfortable, and it's not a chair that's easy to get out of for me. But it is more reclined than sitting in a desk chair. So I'm trying to see if I can move my mic and stuff back there and do my recordings back there. I don't think it's going to work because I need to be able to press record on my computer, and the difference between my computer and where I would be sitting, you'd have some dead time between when I hit record and when I can say something, unless you want to hear me yell, in the background and say hi that way. So yeah, but let me just tell you about last night. It went so smoothly. So, if you know, I've taken over R5 temporarily on my game. R5 in my game means I'm top dog in my alliance. It's kind of like the big boss man. So, I'm the big boss lady now in the game until mid-May. The previous R5, who is my fearless leader, is going on vacation, and so I agreed to step in and be R5 and change things up a little, is how I'm calling it. My job is to streamline and progress the alliance while he is gone, meaning we prior to this, knowing that he was going to go on vacation now for several several months, have slowly been talking and changing things and working towards changing big things, which is what happened a couple of nights ago. Is we made a big change. Probably not the best timing for the big change, because it was right at the same time as me taking over R5, so everybody had to scramble with R5 change and what messages would come from that naturally to a new messaging system. Well, the good thing is messaging system seems to be working now that the tail end of it has been released. So last night was the official rollout for this new messaging system for the Alliance. What it is supposed to do is streamline communication. If you have an issue with a certain topic, there's one person for you to talk to versus 10. So you talk to the one person who is lead on that topic, and that person has the authority to make decisions. If they need backup or want to discuss things, there is a backup assigned to that same category. So each category has a lead and a backup. Those two people are in charge of that decision. If they need R5 to step in for a tiebreaker or opinions or final say in yes or no, this is a good idea or not, then they come to the R5. Otherwise, the R5 is out of that decision. They can have input, they can talk to the lead, but it is lead's call if they request R5 help or approval or whatever. This was done for several reasons. One front-facing reason is because some of us, prior to a bunch of changes to the Alliance, were pulling more weight than others. It was an unfair shift of balance in who was doing what and taking on responsibilities of what. Now responsibilities are divvied out between all of us and should make the game to where everybody has a little bit of responsibility, but a lot of time to have fun in the game, versus how it was prior, where it was mostly R4s and the R5 do mostly management stuff with very little fun time in the game left after everything, which isn't fair. So front facing, that's the reason. Back facing reason is because there are people who are doing more than everybody else, and it was starting to weigh down and burn people out, and it wasn't fair to have all that pressure on just certain people. Even if you take on R5 or R4 responsibility, you know that there's going to be some management position responsibilities that you're going to have to do. Well, the problem was we had people who assumed roles without ever being enforced to take any responsibility for being in said role. So everything fell on the R5 and a few R4s that were willing to step up and take some of the weight off of the R5. So my goal and my plan is to help streamline and break down these responsibilities. The R5 before me had to do all by himself because he's the sweetest guy in the world and never really asked for help. Well, now he has his number 2, which is me, doing, or what I call playing dress up, as R5 for the next few weeks. So me as his number 2, I get a rare insight into what his daily life really is like in the game in order to be able to help him. So, what's a little weird and people don't quite understand or see this dynamic side of things is I'm technically an R4. That is my role in the game. I'm an R4. I'm a diplomat in the game for my alliance. I love what I have been assigned. I love the responsibilities it comes with. I love the position it comes with. It's very much a me type deal. The issue is I now get to see what my R5 has been up to, and he has been carrying way too much weight. And so now I need to figure out how to distribute some of that weight to the people who are there to support the R5 position. And that includes me. So I am in the weird position of being an R4 with now the insight of an R5 responsibility and daily life insight schedule thing. So, so when I talk to the rest of the R4s, it's a really hard balance for me right now to be R5 but still keep and nourish my R4 responsibilities and contacts and my friends. So it's a little different in the fact that I now have some insight into how things need to change and change to make our forward life better and fun again. Because honestly, I would say the last few days to about a couple weeks had just been insane. Part of it is that state merge that we had. Part of it is just all the drama that was happening inside the alliance because people had expectations of, gaming on a beach on a lounger in, a bathing suit with cocktails being delivered to them. So when in reality they're sitting at home having to take on responsibilities to help move the alliance that they so want to have benefits from but none of the work for, they got a little pissy. And by a little pissy, I mean a lot of pissy, and threw hissy fits and quit. And you would think we'd be devastated. I will admit, there was one person who quit and I cried. I was not happy that they quit. I understood, once the reasoning had come out of what was really happening behind the scenes, not what was happening surface level at the second that it was happening. It was more of everything had been built up and then there was a catalyst moment, and that catalyst moment was me rolling out a new rank system for the alliance, because our current rank system got us in this problem in the first place, where people were assigned ranks that they didn't earn nor really wanted the responsibilities from. Well, that's all fine and dandy for an alliance that's not trying to grow and become part of the top 10 and to make some big moves. But with an alliance that is wanting to grow to the top 10 and be able to make big moves, we need people to step up and be in a role that they deserve and earned and want and are willing to participate in. And that's the key, is the higher the rank, the more you need to participate in things that are not typical just game stuff. If you want just to game and not have any of the responsibilities of progressing the alliance, don't become an R4 or an R5. Stay at an R3 and R2 and R1. Those are your gaming don't take on responsibilities, don't care what happens with the alliance, will help when I can give suggestions where I want, but there's no actual responsibility to those roles. If you want to be an R4, be prepared to work for it. Be prepared to earn that title, because with great responsibility, again, great responsibility comes a great title. But on the same side, with a great title comes great responsibility. Grow up. That's just the way it is. Well, I've hit 15 minutes in some, so I'm going to have to shut this down. I will continue the rant in part 2. Till then, bye, gremlins.